Joe and Liz on the same ticket? Well, it's always fun to consider the what-ifs, and admittedly, the mere title of this story would make practically anyone say, what? And it's also a pretty big if, but what if, somehow, that partnership actually found some kind of adhesive? Well, there might be more than just one tube of glue to stick a plausible storyline together, at least for entertainment purposes. First, Liz Cheney herself said that she would do, quote, anything to keep Donald Trump from getting into the White House ever again. There's no doubt that she was, and still is, quite serious about that statement. She knows that there are quite a few Republicans and many independents that have a great deal of respect for her and her conservative views. And even when you ask Democrats about their level of respect for the former congresswoman from Wyoming, that word, respect, is likely to be highlighted in their assessment of her. She may not be a Democrat, but most Democrats don't view her as the enemy either. And so there's my first tube of glue. Now, the second. Kamala Harris was apparently, at least reasonably proficient in her former jobs. As an attorney general and later U.S. senator, she might not have been the brightest star shining in the Democratic sky, but it seems that she did at least okay. And maybe that, along with other factors that we won't get into now, is the reason that she was chosen to be Joseph Biden's running mate. Now, are you familiar with the Peter Principle? Basically, it states that, particularly in large institutions like corporate or government structures, a person will keep rising in rank and responsibility until they reach a point of at least semi-incompetence. And there they'll stay. If Kamala Harris was indeed a middle management corporate paper pusher, she might have just reached the point in her career which she would remain and retire. However, she chose to seek a position that thankfully comes up for review every 4 years. Her performance since being elected, although not absolutely horrible, on par with, say, Spiro T. Agnew, is not what you would call stellar. Public speaking seems to be sometimes challenging for the current VP, and a lack of direction or purpose seems to be quite evident. As of this writing, she doesn't appear to have any major projects, aside from symbolic ones, that she's attempting to champion. Her leadership qualities, at least as displayed in her current position, seem to be lacking. Bottom line, Kamala Harris isn't the strongest candidate for vice president this country has ever seen. Perhaps the Democrats should be looking for other applicants for the job. And that is my second tube of glue. Now, tube number 3. With mounting legal pressure and a nearly inevitable negative outcome in at least one or some of his many court cases, Donald Trump's popularity and influence will erode. Maybe not right now and maybe slowly, but more and more people will continue to just get tired of the guy. Plus, courtroom losses will change him, in the eyes of some of his fans, from fighter into loser. There's also the possibility that certain incontrovertible facts might arise from the multitudinous legal arrows being shot at number 45 that damage his credibility and thus popularity. For that, we'll all just have to stay tuned. The point is, the more people that actually accept the outcome of the 2020 election, the more people there will be that are apt to accept and or forgive Liz Cheney, especially when they could possibly see her as sort of a back door to the presidency. And that's it for glue tube number 3. Now, the final tube of glue. Historically, there have been many odd combinations of president and vice president, usually made of convenience. Take Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson, or Jack Kennedy and LBJ. Although always of the same party, you have to admit that there have been some pretty extreme policy and societal differences between some presidents and their vices. Joe Biden has expressed his respect and admiration for Cheney, and has said in the past that they were able to work together. Liz Cheney, to my knowledge, has never really badmouthed Biden. Now consider this. If Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis continue to snipe at each other and split the Republican Party, and Biden and Cheney were to take advantage of that split and team up, that team would have tremendous appeal to a lot of independent voters without necessarily alienating Democrats. After all, she'd just be the vice president. It could even attract a respectable number of moderate Republican voters, too. It would be, as in many other countries of the world, a sort of coalition government. And sometimes they work, sometimes not. Now, those are my 4 tubes of glue that bind my most unusual tale together, and remember, this entire piece is only for amusement, a what-if story to just pass the time of day and maybe give you a little chuckle. It's safe to let your imagination take this idea and let it run, as it'll never happen in the real world. It is far-fetched. Some might even accuse this writer of sniffing his own tubes of glue, but like I said at the beginning, it's only for fun, and fantasy never turns into reality. Or does it? I don't know, but that's why it's been submitted for your entertainment.